Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sidi Kamochu and I am a poultry farmer, and I'm inviting you here to my farm. I understand that if you are passionate about farming, if you're passionate about agriculture, if you're passionate about turning it into a business, then you have come to the right place, because I will be sharing how you can start a poultry farming business and how you can actually navigate the ups and the downs, because I've been there. I've been there. I'm not I'm not like overly qualified, but I've been there. So I'll take you through to my farm just in a few. There's a lot of noise in the background because they're hungry and they need to feed. So yes. Welcome back. So I decided to leave the other side of the farm so that I can come here and you guys can hear me properly, because there was a lot of noise. The chicken make a lot of noise, especially when they're hungry and they do want to eat on time. So at the back there's actually Kenyan chicken that we usually have at home. So this is not the main farm. The main farm is on the other side, and yeah, this is a bit of a continuation on how to start a poultry farming business. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a journey. To be very honest, this is a journey. That's the one thing you need to understand before wanting to start. It's a journey, and it's a journey of a lot of patience. You need to have a lot of patience, especially when you're doing poultry farming. And for me, I chose doing the layers, and I'll be very expressive and very elaborate in this video so that you guys can be able to jumpstart and kickstart. So number one, how do you start, and what amount do you start with, and how much does one chick cost? Well, for me, I wanted to start with at least a good amount. I wanted to start with something that is more tangible, like in terms of the number, that I can be able to see that this is what I'm working towards, and I'm actually getting this amount of money. I didn't want to like trisex a lot, but I would honestly say that the first thing to think about when wanting to start is, where are you going to do the whole structure? Because for poultry farming, I think it's very important for you to have a very good structure, because if you don't have a good structure, it's going to be very difficult for you to navigate things. You need to have at least a piece of land that you can be able to do the farming on. And of course, depending on what method you're going to use, which I'm going to explain later on, which is the battery system, the battery cages system, and the deep litter system. Depending on which one you're going to go for, you should know how to build that structure depending on that, because the battery cages would require more space in terms of the width, and the others, whichever form. If you choose for it to be huge like this, that's on you. If you want it to be slender, that's still on you. But again, now Samsung decided that there's time limits when it comes to me shooting a video. But anyway, I'm back, and as I was saying, number one, I think you have to consider, and I love using my hands when I'm illustrating something, so do not worry. So number one, I think you need to consider land. It's very important for you to consider land, where you're actually going to situate your whole structure, where you're going to do your business from, and it has to be somewhere that is properly fenced so that you do not have things coming in, especially animals, because some animals can actually eat your chicken. I can bear you witness that at the back here, sometimes you find that there's a huge rat that has eaten a chick, which tends to happen. So yeah, that's just one of the things. And again, it's fenced, but there's always going to be those mishaps that always come, and it's okay. So again, this is my first video, so bear with me if I'm not as good of a YouTuber or a vlogger, but we're getting there. So the first consideration is land, as I've mentioned. The second consideration for you to make is the quantity. And for you who is starting out and you are unsure on where to get your chicken from, I would always advocate for cage chick. Always. Please do not go to a quack or somebody who knows very little about poultry farming, or just someone who is just out there just selling the chicks, it is important for you to go to the best there is. And personally, I advocate for Kenchick because it's a brand that has been there for ages. And one thing that happens with brands is that they have a name to uphold. So if anything, something is wrong with your chicks, like mine, I remember the first time when I got them, there was a bit of an issue with the abdomen. The one they come with is the yolk, and there was a bit of an issue, and I had quite a number of deaths. I think there were like 20, and my first ever batch was 530. Yes, 530. I got 530 chicks, and I remember they were dying, and I was not present. Again, that's another thing that you also have to consider. If you are not present, if you are not going to frequent the farm, please do not start, because it requires a level of commitment that is so crucial. And this is important, especially if you want to put in systems that actually will help you in the future, because when you're starting out, sometimes it can be very difficult to put systems when you do not understand how this whole thing goes about. But when you have systems, then you can be able to freely move around. Again, you can only attain freedom, the freedom of movement, and you can visit another country, you can be away for a bit of like a period of time, if only you have put systems that are actually good for you. So commitment is very key. So as I was saying, I lost about 20 to 30, if I'm not wrong, and it was because of the abdomen that they come with, which is a yolk. In the early stages, that's what they used to actually eat from, and I think it had an infection. But when I was able to come back very quickly because of the whole scenario of having chicks which were dying, I decided to come back and I went to the vet. Again, that's another thing to also make sure that you always consider doing. Consult your vet. You are new to this, and myself, I was new to the whole thing, so I decided to make sure that every single mishap that comes my way, every single hurdle, I communicate, I talk to the vet, because those are the people that are going to help you to make sure that you keep your flock alive. Yes, we do have chickens, so bear with us. So again, as I was saying, consult your vet. I consulted my vet, and they were able to give me solutions about what the problem was. And so at that time, I didn't realize it was their yolk that had a problem. They were just dying, and I was coming up with so many ideas. Oh my God, it could be that it's so cold. I started heating up the place. It could be that there is too much cold. There's too much this, there's too much that. So there was a lot of confusion, and so you cannot make conclusions for yourself. So again, when you're in that position, when your flock is maybe dying, please make sure that you quickly take the dead flock or whatever, the dead chick, to the lab. There's always a lab in every county that you take for veterinary services. So I took mine to the lab, and it was able to be established that it was the yolk. So then I now understood that it wasn't that the conditions were not suitable, it was that they already had a condition in them that was not good. And so I was given medication for that as well, which helps with preventing now from the rest having the same issue if they do have it, or prevent them from dying from that issue. So yeah, consult with your vet, take your flock that has maybe died to the vet, and be very open to some of these situations happening. You have to be very, very open, because they will happen to you. They happen to the best of us. So don't count it as failure when maybe you have 10 that have died in a span of 2 days. Because I remember every single day I was counting, one has gone, 2 have gone, 3 have gone, and it can really put you in a very tough position, and you can really feel discouraged about it. But I encourage you not to be discouraged. Just go to the vet, go to the lab, and be able to establish what the problem is, because then after that, you are now not coming from a place of you don't know anything. You're now coming from a place of, now this is what happens in case this and this happen. So anyway, yeah, I started with 500, and my to-go place for purchasing chicks is Kenchick, and they cost about 135, I think, per piece. It's quite expensive, to be very honest. The broiler, I think, is going for 100 if I'm not wrong, and the Ken Bro, which is the Kenyeji, I think it's probably going at about 95. But please be sure to confirm with your Kenchik location, I really do not know, but I do remember that I bought mine at 135 per piece. So averagely it would cost you about 65,000 to 70,000 when trying to get your first batch if you were going for 500. But if you're going for anything less, again, do the math and you'll be able to establish. But that does not just end there. The next thing for you to recognize is that for a period of 6 months, especially for the layers, you're not going to be getting any profit. So you have to have a source of income, source of, trying to, be able to feed the chicks, because that has to be like so done every single day. There is no way that you can miss that, because when you miss, then you're not going to be able to meet the target weight for those chicks. And the first few weeks, you're going to have to be there. You're going to have to be there. You're going to have to be there physically. I mean physically. You need to be able to see that maybe there's a behavior change in one of the chicks, and that's how you're able to establish that one is sick, one is not, one is eating, one is not eating. So those are some of the considerations you're supposed to be making. Your availability is supposed to be very, very key. Aside from the money aspect, aside from the location aspect, all those things will come in place, but you have to be there. You cannot trust somebody else to just do the job for you. You have to literally just be there. As I was saying before I got rudely interrupted. So you have to find a trusted person to get the chicks from, and I always advocate for Kenchik, because again they always have a vet who can be able to help you. Okay, I need to put him away. Take away. 1, 2, and go. Anyway, interruptions. Yes, so after being able to establish that you've managed to get your 500, 100, 200 chicks, then now you can be able to now start off with the brooding stage, which is where you raise the chicks. And I always advocate for, don't buy chicken that has already been brooded for you. Go for chicken that has not been brooded, because you may find someone has not done the vaccination program as it's supposed to be, and that may cost you a huge chunk of money. Because again, if you're buying from someone who's already done the brooding for you, then that means you're going to pay extra. You're not going to pay the 135, you're probably going to pay 500 or 600 or 300, which is a bit more costly. So you should always look for ways in which you can do the brooding yourself, so that you can also be able to learn in the process. It's very much easier for you to learn. So again, the most important bits of what it is I'm trying to say in this very short video is you have to have commitment, you have to have availability, you have to look for the passion. If you do not have passion, you have to look for it, because the money is good, so you look for the passion, and you need to have the proper structures in place for you to be able to do the whole thing with ease. And I will be able to do more videos of this. If you have learned a thing or two, I'll be more than happy to share more about what it is it entails when it comes to poultry farming, and I'll be more elaborate in our next video, so that you can be able to know each stage. I'll take you stage by stage through doing a web series for individuals who would love to know, what am I supposed to do at this stage? What am I supposed to do at this stage? So yeah, if you like what you have had and you want to know more, and you want to build the passion, you want to build the resilience when it comes to poultry farming, then please click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up, and let's see each other on the next video. Again, thank you so much. See you guys.